All right, so I got to talk to a New York Times journalist today, and we were talking about the leaked group messages that went out from some Republicans. And these are shocking to some people. I'm Hitler, I love Hitler, ha ha, ha, crazy stuff. But, well, I'll explain what's happening here, but I'm going to explain. She asked me a question like, why is this not shocking to you? And can't this hurt people? So I thought I had a great answer to that, so I'll explain here. The real truth is that probably, if I had to guess, especially among young men, 20 to 30% of people are going to be engaging in this sort of edgy humor. Okay, so we need to understand like what edgy humor looks like and what was happening here and why it's not too surprising. So there's kind of three kinds of edgy jokes, which can be like, you can use the same words to get all three across. But the first would be edgy jokes that don't map onto any political ideology or any tribe, like so non-tribal, and then that are not part of any fights that are ongoing right now, and then that are clearly like not, you don't sincerely believe this, because we're going to get to the other two levels, and those are the two levels. So for example, if I said we really need to make sure that our military is prepared for any potential threat, we need to make sure that we're constantly fighting, constantly engaged, they're all really trained up, they need live fire exercises. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go into Canada and kill every single Canadian. And as a plus side, like, those guys are way too polite. They make us look bad by comparison. So now everyone in the world will know that we're the most virtuous and honorable and polite people in the, in the North American region once we genocide the Canadians, right? So something like this is like, there's clearly something funny going on here. It's like, okay, like, that probably wouldn't make you the most polite, like, if you do all the genociding. But, like, no Canadian on the planet is worried about being genocided, so I don't sincerely believe this. And there's no political movement, well, maybe now there is, now that Donald Trump has been tweeting about the 51st state, but there's no serious political movement that's trying to exterminate Canadians. So there's no chance that you get, that you say, hey, I'm on the enemy team, I'm trying to actually kill you. There's no chance that you have that misalignment. So that's like the tier one. That's purely funny. Nobody on the planet is going to get particularly offended by the live military Canadian exercises. Maybe a couple of Canadians might not be super excited about it. But like generally it's like, okay, that's going to be like pretty much fine. The next tier is like, if you're genuinely Republican and you're making jokes like, oh man, like, I really wish these immigrants weren't taking so much of our jobs away. Like, I don't know, you say that in some funny way, right? Like, oh, did you hear unemployment is down? What, they let more immigrants in? Something like this, right? Like, what you're saying is kind of funny. What you're saying is kind of silly. Like, oh, what we can do? Oh, here's a perfect example of a tier 2 edgy joke. Is like, oh, what we can do to fix the unemployment problem, and get a lot of our jobs opened up is if we just kill all the immigrants. Like, we'll keep doing this kill all of the form in order to maintain the line through. What's happening here? Does this person genuinely believe, oh, we can solve, like, as a policy proposal, we kill all the immigrants? Probably not. The right wing is a little crazy. They're not that crazy for the most part. So nobody's going to genuinely believe that, but that's a tier 2. Well, what are we actually doing here? We're sending a signal, like, yeah, my sincere beliefs are not what I'm saying, right? And I don't want to kill the Mexicans, but I would prefer if there were less of them here. And I do think that they're causing us problems. And, I'm not happy with them, right? And you're signaling a political tribal kind of battle, right? And I'm not saying political tribalism, it doesn't matter. I'm just signaling like a sincerely held political belief that's in opposition, but it's within the Overton window. It's reasonable, right? So, again, Republicans aren't reasonable these days, but within the Overton window for America. You're having a normal political belief and you're presenting it in a hyperbolic or an edgy or a crazy way, right? That's like the tier 2. Tier 3 is we should kill all the Jews. That's not an edgy joke, right? That's like if someone, from the Groyper crew, and they're saying stuff like that. Like, there are some people who are sincerely racist, who are sincerely anti-Semitic, who are sincerely, all these other isms and obas, whatever they are. And that's bad, right? Like, that's not good. Those are, outside the Overton window, and I personally don't like them, which makes them bad. Anything I personally don't like is bad, guys, including genocide. And it's the only thing that makes it bad, is that I personally don't like it. But, people who have these, like, tier 3 beliefs, whatever. So what happened with this Republican group chat leak is snooze. Like, most people express themselves, not most people, but, like, probably 20-30% of young men, they're going to be in the group chat, and they're going to say, like, oh man, like, fuck your mom, like, oh, like, whatever, oh, you're so hot, to one of their male friends, like, when they're not gay, like, just as a funny, like, they're just saying crazy stuff. It's just like a funny way to do humor, right? a lot of what we saw from the Republican group chat leaks were in this tier 2. They were just like, I'm a Republican. What are things Republicans say? Yeah, I'm Hitler. Haha, I'm Hitler. Like, you're probably not Hitler. Oh man, if these watermelon people like go back to their country, maybe things would be better. Yeah, that's racist. That's not good. That's bad. There's probably some sincere racist. This is the thing. There's a mix of people who are sincerely racist, and there's a mix of people who think like, oh, racist jokes are just like, they're just kind of funny, and I'm just gonna make them in the group chat, and it's like whatever. It's like a Republican safe space, so we can all kind of say this. You know, like even Black Republicans. You know, they might be like, yeah, these are my friends. We're all Republicans. Like, this is kind of what we do. Like, we're kind of, when we're doing that, we're kind of making fun of liberals because they have sticks up their butt and they can't engage on this level. And then there's a handful of people who are down here. The reason this article is not surprising or shocking, I think this is like a roundabout way of getting to this answer, is that we already knew that young people talk in crazy, edgy ways. And we already knew that there's a problem with, you know, actual sincere racism and all forms of lunacy and anti-Semitism in the right wing, right? We know this is a problem, right? So, especially among like younger, more conspiratorial folks. So yeah, that's kind of the quick take on this thing. So pray for me. Hopefully we'll get our New York Times article quote. It would be incredible if we do. I think I gave a sufficiently unique and sufficiently insightful take that it should be playable. We're hoping to get it in, but we'll see how it goes. You know, most articles don't get written. You know, most things end up cut on the floor, and you interview a dozen people for every story, and only 2 or 3 quotes get in. But we're praging. We have odds. We have odds here. All right.